Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
As the floodwaters across the region recede, the scale of the damage it caused is now being seen. Homes were flooded and cars and other equipment swept away. In Magoffin County, which was one of the hardest hit areas, the cleanup can now begin. Tonight we hear from a man who lost thousands of dollars worth of his belongings. WYMT's Connor James introduces us to him.
People are still trying to comprehend it.
We thought that we were going to lose everything.
It didn't take hours.
We looked out and it was about halfway in the yard, and within 20 minutes it was up next to our home.
Only minutes for Mike Salyer to move his family to high ground.
I've got a 9-year-old daughter and my wife. I wanted to make sure that they were safe.
It destroyed thousands of dollars of his equipment, and a couple more inches of rain and the home he's been building for more than a year could have flooded.
But it luckily stopped.
In the wake, a muddy mess.
Every time it does this, it gets to us.
This is not the first time he's had problems. Lately, the amount of rain has continuously flooded his property. In his nearly 11 years of living there, it was never this bad.
No. In those years, it would get up in the yard a little bit, and that was it.
He says new culverts installed along the Mountain Parkway have backed up.
The drainage situation over here is causing everybody up and down through here a lot of problems. All the culverts that they're putting in up through there, it just can't handle it.
But he's just thankful.
Material things, we replaced those.
It was nothing worse. In Magoffin County, Connor James, WYMT Mountain News.
At least a dozen eastern Kentucky counties have declared a local state of emergency. Here is a visual at those we have reported on so far. Governor Matt Bevin has also declared a state of emergency for all of Kentucky. That came down this afternoon, and that will give state resources to the areas hit hardest by the flooding.
We'll make it retroactive so that they will be able to get the resources that they need. Again, we're fortunate not to have had the damage that some of the states around us have. We are also looking at whether or not we'll be able to qualify for any FEMA assistance.
The governor says FEMA will base their assistance on the level of damage. Now, on a state level, Governor Bevin tells us his executive order will provide equipment and extra personnel for areas that need it in their recovery. When a disaster strikes, it's then you can see how close a community really is. The Lakefront Church of God Outreach Ministries is helping many in Magoffin County. They say during the last couple of days, they've been handing out food to anyone in need. Several people close to the church have had severe flooding damage in their homes. Church organizers say they will do all they can to help.
So now will be our part coming in with the food. Once electricity is restored, the home is made safe again, and we will assist with furniture as we have the ability to do so, and also clothing and things like that.
If you are in need of food or anything else, you can find contact information for the ministries on our website, WYMT.com. While the water recedes across eastern Kentucky, that is not the case at Lake Cumberland. It's expected to crest either tomorrow or Wednesday at historic levels. The lake is at 755 feet above sea level. All that water is creating problems for folks living downstream. WYMT's Phil Pendleton talked to one of many forced to find different ways to make it to his front door.
Unusual. It's going to take it a while to get it back down.
Lake Cumberland is Kentucky's third largest lake, and it's getting bigger.
I fish a lot of bass tournaments and everything. We put in here a lot, and it's just like it is completely taking that out of the picture, you know, and it's not safe to be out there anyway. So.
Built for flood control in the 1940s and 50s, U.S. Army Corps officials say Wolf Creek Dam is doing its job because without it, some towns downstream like Nashville would be under 15 feet of water.
It's the highest I've seen in this part in the lake. 22 years I've been here.
I wanted to show you a community downstream from Wolf Creek Dam in the community of Creesboro, but this is Highway 379, and as you can see, I cannot even get there because of a flooded roadway. Some said all the water discharged to the dam has to go somewhere.
I've seen it pretty high back in '74 and '84, but not anything like this.
K.R. Miller's home is surrounded by water. For 40 years, he's lived a few hundred feet from the Cumberland River, and now he cannot even use his driveway.
I am coming through a field out in front of my house, and I'm doing okay.
Lake Cumberland may not crest until midweek. The lake could go up another foot. Miller says he better get used to driving through his yard.
I've heard it could be this way for 2 weeks.
In Russell County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
U.S. Army Corps officials say the water being discharged from the dam will completely fill the Cumberland River channel and has caused the river in Nashville to reach flood stage at nearly 40 feet. The Red River is causing a few problems across Powell County. Emergency management says the river crested early this morning, but several roads are underwater, many of them impassable. Flooding damaged some homes and garages too. Crews are assessing the damage this evening. Remember, you can always stay ahead of severe weather by downloading the WYMT weather app. Looking ahead at nicer weather that will help us dry out this week, though, is meteorologist Paige Noel. And it looks like we could have some spring-like temperatures this week too, right, Paige?
Yeah, Steve, you are right. Those spring-like temperatures feeling actually a little bit like spring today, but even more as we head into your Tuesday and into your Wednesday. It was absolutely beautiful today. Check it out here. Interstate 64 in Moorhead, not a cloud in the sky, and that sun is now starting to set. We are still dealing with a few flood warnings across our area, especially for the Cumberland River and the Kentucky River, and those will stay into effect until those rivers start to recede. And as we look at those temperatures, not too bad out there into those lower 40s and some spots into those upper 40s, but really we'll see those temperatures rise over the next couple of hours. And Steve, we'll talk about that and more coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Paige, thank you. In the confluence community of Leslie County, people remain stranded. Water released from Buckhorn Lake floods the roads in and out. Officials with the Army Corps of Engineers say it could take weeks before the levels return to normal. WYMT's Macy Marie continues our team coverage and shows us how crews attempt to get supplies like food to the other side.
Surrounded by water and trapped. That is the reality for people living on the other side of Kentucky 257.
We're stuck until the water goes down, and if the debris is bad, and we're stuck even longer until that's cleaned up.
Austin Turner and his family live in Confluence. This is the drive there. Roads flooded and closed.
It's actually the worst I've seen in a long time.
Monday, groups pitched in to bring supplies by boat, the only way in and out.
If we got the means and the stuff to help people, why shouldn't we? I mean, we should all step up and do our part.
This entire trailer of food was donated, but getting it to the people in need is tough.
If I was trapped, I would want somebody to help me out.
Right now, conditions remain dangerous, even in a boat.
Maintain what you got, just in case no one can't get to you to give you more food or water.
Hoping those lending a hand can keep making deliveries to those in need. It was not until later this afternoon, around 3 o'clock, the crews were able to get out on the water and deliver that food. They first had to check for dangerous conditions like bridges and buildings that are underwater.
Well, Macy, how many boats are delivering supplies?
Today there were 2 boats out, one brought by Kentucky Fish and Wildlife and another owned by the county. But Steve, officials tell me that boat they took out today is the only full-size one owned by the county.
All right, Macy Marie in our newsroom, thank you. Crews with the State Highway Department are in Knott County trying to reopen several roadways damaged by the recent heavy rain. One of those roads is Highway 550 in the Garner community. Officials say the roadway began collapsing from the amount of water on top of and underneath the road. Crews dug out the road, installed new drains, and will fill it with gravel. This is a temporary fix, but people appreciate the effort.
I watched school buses went over there. One or 2 buses, special a big bus hauled the high school kids, and when it went over, it hit kind of lean, you know. And it was scary. I mean, just watching the bus went over.
Now, these are pictures of a county roadway just down the hill. County officials cannot begin repairs until state crews finish with their work. Families living there cannot get out. A new issue with infrastructure because of flooding here in Perry County. Several customers of the Hazard City water system do not have any water tonight. Crews say right now they cannot get to the problem because of the high water. Some of those customers impacted live off Combs Road. A search continues in Perry County after police believe a man may have fallen into the North Fork of the Kentucky River. This is the man crews are looking for. His name is Danny Napier. He was last seen by his family Saturday morning. WYMT's Will Puckett went out with search crews as they looked for the man known as Tin Can.
Crews comb the riverbank.
Fish and Wildlife officers have boats in the water.
Searching for a man police fear may have wound up some way in the freezing cold water.
Without any kind of flotation device or life jacket, it would be difficult.
Multiple agencies are brainstorming where the best spots are to possibly find Danny Napier.
It's part of our job and our duty to try to assist in possibly a rescue or recovery, depending on the situation.
As binoculars are used and flotation devices strapped up, details of how he may have ended up in the river remain unclear.
The weather that has been received, the extensive rainfall lately, the North Fork of the Kentucky River was at a high level yesterday around this time.
But no matter the obstacles,
the search are fighting against the elements of the river, which has receded quite a bit since yesterday.
They will continue searching, hoping to find answers for his family. In Perry County, Will Puckett, WYMT Mountain News.
If anyone has any information on where Napier might be, you're asked to call Kentucky State Police Post 13 in Hazard at 606-435-6069. New information today about a weekend murder. Today, Jeffrey Hammonds, the man charged with killing Charles Davidson, pleaded not guilty. The murder happened Friday night in Knox County. Police say Hammonds stabbed Davidson with a kitchen knife. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for March 5th. Hammonds' bond is set at $500,000 cash. Also today in Whitley County, the three men charged with killing Billy Lawson appeared in court. A judge sent the case of Jamie Muse and Jordan Miracle to a grand jury. Those two, along with Jamie's twin brother, face murder and robbery charges. James Muse's case was delayed until March 11th because his attorney could not be at today's hearing. We now know the name of a second victim killed in a Perry County crash. It happened Saturday on Kentucky 15 near the Chavies community. The coroner says 59-year-old Robert Campbell died at the hospital. He was the longtime song leader at Petrie Memorial Baptist Church here in Hazard. They say his car collided with 48-year-old Judy Willoughby's car. She was from Boonville and died at the scene. Investigators do not believe impairment was a factor in the crash. There's been a dramatic climb in the number of both college students and adults abusing the prescription drug Adderall. A University of Kentucky study found 35% of college students take Adderall without a prescription. Adderall is a Schedule II drug in the same category as cocaine and methamphetamine. However, Adderall, when used appropriately, is known to be an effective treatment for people with attention deficit disorder.
Is Adderall dangerous?
When taken as prescribed, not really, but for people who are taking more than the recommended daily amount, then yeah, it could cause potentially a number of different problems.
Tonight at 11, WKYT investigative reporter Miranda Combs looks at the trends and why Adderall has become such a popular drug to abuse. Just ahead here on Mountain News at 6, it's back to the drawing board for a bill that would have raised the smoking age in Kentucky. What lawmakers think the bill was lacking.
And we are on track to be the wettest February on Jackson's record at almost 9 inches of rain. And coming up in just a little bit, we'll talk more about that sunshine, the warming up, and those rain chances returning in just about 5 minutes.